Well, greetings and welcome to Infinite Flight, debunking the Tanner Girls' flight. In this episode, I'll be using Infinite Flight for iOS, Boeing 747-100, technically, even though it's a 200 according to Infinite Flight. And, of course, we will be seeing what we can get out of this episode from when those girls, as you probably know, I am an all-out Full House fan, and they could get too clever. And let's see what taking a 747 from San Francisco to Oakland, California will do to them for once. And not, of course, a Boeing 747 from San Francisco to Auckland, New Zealand. So as of right now, we will be flying from San Francisco to Oakland with the Boeing 747-200 according to Infinite Flight. I assume it's November 7470. I didn't check. Spoiler alert, but oh well. The test version doesn't fly anymore. So we will be using a test version 747 because that was seen in Full House Season 6, Episode 1. Alright, so before we begin, if I have an engine failure before V1, I will land straight ahead. I will close the throttle, yield to oncoming traffic, and stop. If I have an engine failure after V1, I will return. Okay, in that case, I must also tell you that this video, of course, is fictional, and the content in it is fictional, and this is what it is. Full House, I'm an all-out fan, and of course, you heard and read this correctly, that, yes, this is from when they were waiting for a DJ to come home from a trip to Spain. Alright, welcome aboard. This is the aircraft we'll be using. I'm using Infinite Flight Simulator. We are, of course, in the flight deck. As you can see here, making sure that the control surfaces are able to move okay, which I think they are. I mean, usually it's a yes, that they can move okay, so one of the reasons why I do multiple control checks, as you can see here, is for educational purposes. And, of course, I'm going to need those control surfaces, as you can see here, in order for me to fly you to Oakland, California with this Boeing 747. Now, of course, you probably know that those girls in Full House, especially Stephanie and Michelle, if you've watched Season 6, you know, they can, of course, get very clever, you know, oftentimes too. And when they were waiting for DJ Tanner to come home from Spain from the Spanish class that DJ had back in high school, and this is, by the way, how she fell in love with Steve in Full House, was that she went on that trip to Spain, and then from there, she and Steve became friends, then fell in love, and of course, at this point, I'm playing as the girls, as you can see here when they went on board that airplane that went from San Francisco, California to Auckland, New Zealand. But, you know, Michelle made a joke, or they were playing, saying things like, goodbye, where are we going? And, of course, one passenger in a New Zealand accent says, Auckland, New Zealand. But she did not say the name of the country. She just said something that sounded like Oakland. And, of course, Oakland? Straight across the bay. We could just drive there. Oh, and speaking of which, we're flying there. There we go. Now, of course, it is therefore possible, you know, to fly a big jumbo jet from San Francisco to Oakland. Now, of course, realistically, cannot be done on a commercial, regular basis. However, one thing I could tell you is that the closest thing I could think of is if there is some type of emergency or something, where, of course, Lockheed C-17 Goldmaster Freeze or Lockheed C-5 Galaxy drop supplies, you know, from San Francisco to Oakland, a parachute cargo drop. But in this case, we're just seeing what we can get out of it. Oh, look who we have here. A beautiful Pacific. San Francisco Bay, right below us. Now, either way, I see that I can't have beautiful scenery for the time being from when I made this video. So, I went ahead and got a paid subscription for Infinite Flight Simulator out of my own funds at my own expense. And by the way, from the time being I recorded this video, in the words of the ring, I have 7 days until my 28th birthday. Now, technically 8 when I recorded this, but I'm sure you know what I mean. I'm under anticipation that this video will not be uploaded until midnight. I may be wrong, but I'm actually trying, as you can see here, in getting things moving, because the Sandia Crest right now in Duke City, from the time being I recorded this video, is always my arch enemy because of connectivity up there. Or is it? Okay, we're about to approach Oakland here. So, approach procedures. I'm going to adjust speed and autopilot as well as control surfaces accordingly. And of course, the spoiler alert is I actually cheated to land. So, before we get to the cheat part for landing, I will get to show you a slideshow while we're at it. In fact, yes, you are going to get a slideshow. As of now, I see the landing aids. That's what those red boxes you're seeing are. That's one beautiful thing about Flight Simulator, is especially when I have to debunk the Tanner girl's flight, I could do this. Enjoy a slideshow. I love memes. That's for entertainment. Here's the flight deck from when we began. Walk around, making sure the control surfaces and everything is fine. Not just fine, but excellent. And, of course, you heard this correctly, that I'm an all-out Full House fan as well. And I've seen every episode and possess every episode. Okay. Strapped in. We're about ready to go to Oakland. This is when the takeoff phase began. V1. Rotate. V2. Gear up. Positive rate of climb, at least 1,000 feet. Michelle. Look what we have here. Here's a trivia fact for you. Even though my name is Michael, I originally was supposed to be named Michelle because my parents and stepsister are also all-out fans of Full House. Including everybody in my house, you know? As well as other friends and acquaintances and theirs of such. I grew up in a time when everyone was a fan of Full House, especially an all-out fan. Oh, yeah. Here we go. We're landing here. I cheated on that. I chose to go to final approach for me. And note the screen recording saved the photos. You know, that's because I was making mistakes to begin with. When I thought I was going to land, but it turned out no, I didn't. Well, looks almost beautiful right here, that landing. What do you think? Well, spoiler alert, we'll be off the tarmac for a brief moment, just so I could get this thing in. Now, like I said from before, the closest thing I could think about with jets this size, and when could you see a jet this size fly from San Francisco to Oakland, is during a crisis. And the closest thing you'll see are Lockheed cargo planes, like C-130, C-5 Galaxies, as well as, of course, C-17 Globemaster 3s. That's the closest thing you'll get, but if anything, more than likely, they're just going to drop supplies. But what we're doing in this flight, is basically seeing what things do for once. Like, you know how Danny Tanner, also in Full House Season 6, found out that Michelle was calling Funny Buddy. If any of you remember that. And of course, Danny Tanner had to send Michelle to bed early because of those Funny Buddy calls. It's also in Full House Season 6 called Silence is Not Golden. Now this airplane here, you'll find in Full House Season 6, Episode 1. Come fly with me. Alright, the task is almost done. All I need to do is park this jet, give you one more thing, and of course, a little bonus end slideshow here. Note, the memes you see here about all food must go to the lab for testing, as well as, wait, they have belly rubs in first class? That's just for entertainment, I put there. If there's other things other than airplanes I like, I'm especially an animal lover too. I love the Labrador Retriever, it's my favorite animal. And, of course, the Golden Retriever too, which, of course, the Tanner family had named Comet. And just so you know, before we go to one more thing, the girls do in fact come back from the trip to Spain, but they were grounded for 1 month for what they did wrong when, of course, they got too clever. Not to mention in Season 5, Kimmy Gibbler also got too clever by sneaking them into the movie theater. By saying that they're a 1 millionth customer. I'm like, that's not practical. Kimmy Gibbler, and of course her theater, did not receive 1 million customers from the time being the theater was freshly opened. Oh, and what we have here, a little slideshow from when we were coming into Oakland. And from all the times I've been meaning to create a video like this, looks like as of today, another part of a mission accomplished. You know, I wish I'd been doing this since I was younger, but, what do you know? I was just shy and skeptical. I guess I still am, but I want to bust out of that shy shell. And of course, not to compare, for those who've seen Treffpunkt Berlin, I want to do better than what Tanya did, and of course own up to the things Frau Bauer told her. Especially when Tanya was very nervous and had a lot of makeup on. Which now brings me to one more thing. One more thing, I pretty much summarize what I do, just like on the Steve Harvey Show, or the Dr. Harvey Show, mind you. This video, of course, was, let's just see what we can get flying from San Francisco to Oakland with the Boeing 747. Now, in real life, the closest match I could think of is either a Lockheed C-5 Galaxy or C-17 Globemaster III, delivering supplies to Oakland, California. Like, let's say, for instance, no highway is usable, like Stephanie said when she said, "Oh, Oakland's right across the bay, we could just drive there." That's only in times of crisis, it seems as though. I may be wrong, but comment on what you think. If you would please and thank you. The video, I'm going to admit I'm an all-out Full House fan. I consider myself a general as far as Full House goes, a major one that is, because of how many episodes I've seen, which are all of them. You could benefit from learning about life and using it in your daily life, which I've been doing so far. And of course, I've been doing this since I was, of course, in late elementary school. Heeding the Full House morals, those are. And as of right now, my life, especially thanks to Civil Air Patrol and me wanting to continue, I, of course, ended up as a Civil Air Patrol officer back in the autumn of 2015. And, of course, Full House and, of course, Civil Air Patrol seem to be transferable to me at the moment. Well, that is our show. If you like, please like and subscribe. If there's anything I could do, please let me know in the comments and or send me messages. Otherwise, here's something from Eisenhower I'm going to take. The middle school in Duke City, that is. You have the power to be kind, to be responsible, and to be the very best you can be. The choice is yours. Have a great day, generals. As for me, I'm going to make the choice. I'm going to make an excellent day. And of course, I'm a Full House general. Because Eisenhower Middle School's mascot was the general. And yes, everything you heard in the Full House theme, Everywhere You Look by Jesse Frederick, those words apply to me. Looks like I could be one of those people who says that if you're lost out there and you're all alone, light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look.